A man tried to pay with Monopoly money, laughing. The customer is always right, so you have to take it. When I refused, he threw a fit, knocked over a display, and yelled, "I'm reporting you for discrimination." Moments later, the police arrived, took one look at the scene, and said, "Sir, you're under arrest for disturbing the peace." His smug expression instantly vanished. I've worked in retail for a long time. Too long, honestly. I've seen just about every kind of customer you can imagine. Some are fine, most are decent, a few are weird, and then there's the type that makes you question how some people function in society. This story is about one of those people. I work at a small, family-run hardware and home goods store in a suburb outside of Boise, Idaho. Not a chain, just a one-location store that's been in the same spot for over 20 years. We know our regulars by name. Most of our business is from locals. It's not flashy, but it's solid. It was a Thursday afternoon, just past 3 p.m. Thursdays are usually a little chaotic for us because that's when the supply truck shows up, and we have to split our attention between restocking and checking out customers. On this particular Thursday, we were short 2 employees, one out sick and the other had car trouble. So it was just me, Caleb, assistant manager, and a part-time kid named Dylan working. Around 3:15, the door swings open and this guy walks in. Tall, lanky, wearing a huge beige trench coat, the kind that brushes the floor. Dark sunglasses. Hair slicked back like he thinks he's in a movie. The kind of guy who walks like he thinks people are watching him. Right away I got a weird vibe. Not dangerous or anything, just off. He didn't grab a cart or a basket. Just walked around slowly, muttering to himself as he moved through the aisles. Sometimes I could hear him say things like, "Oh yeah, this is perfect," or "That's good, that's real good," like he was planning something. He spent almost 40 minutes browsing, during which he picked up a power drill, $160, 2 heavy-duty extension cords, $60 each, a 147-piece toolkit, $220, a lighter and a pack of fire-starting logs, $30 total, 1 bag of barbecue kettle chips, $4.99. When he finally came to the counter, I gave him a polite nod. "Find everything okay?" He didn't answer. Just dropped everything on the counter. His face had this smug little smirk on it, like he knew something I didn't. I scanned the items. The total came out to $487.92. Then, he did it. He reached into the inside pocket of his trench coat and pulled out a thick stack of paper bills. I caught a glimpse of pink, blue, and yellow, Monopoly money. At first, I thought he was joking. Like a weird icebreaker prank or maybe something for social media. But then he started laying the bills out neatly, one at a time, like he was paying for a 5-course meal. I looked at him. He looked back and said with the straightest face, "The customer is always right. So you have to take it." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" He smiled wider. "This is legal tender in a free economy. I'm asserting my rights. You have to accept it." I was still processing what he said when he pulled a literal Monopoly box out of a canvas bag and put it on the counter next to the drill. Like that somehow proved his point. He tapped the box with his finger. "It says Bank of Monopoly. That's the central bank. You're violating commerce laws by refusing it." I tried to stay calm. "Sir, that's not real money. I can't accept it." He raised his voice slightly. "You're refusing my payment?" "Yes, because it's fake. It's game money." "Wow. Just wow." He shook his head. "You're discriminating. You're discriminating against my currency choice. That's a federal offense." I looked at Caleb, who had just walked over from the stockroom. Caleb raised his eyebrows, silently asking, "Is this guy serious?" I nodded slightly. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to pay with real money or I'll have to cancel the transaction." He got louder. "You don't get to decide what's real money. I do. The customer does. That's how this works. That's the entire point of capitalism." Then he picked up one of the fake bills and waved it in my face. "Just because it doesn't have your dead presidents on it doesn't mean it's not money. That's cultural bias." Now, we've had some strange customers before. One guy tried to pay with Canadian coins. Another time a woman tried to return a leaf blower from a totally different store. But this was new. I calmly told him again, "Sir, I can't process the sale with Monopoly money." That's when he lost it. Like, flipped a switch kind of lost it. He shoved the fake money off the counter so it flew everywhere, pink $5s, orange $1s, scattered all over the floor. Then, without warning, he grabbed the edge of the promotional display we had up front, bags of potting soil, seed, and spring fertilizer, and yanked it to the ground. The whole thing fell like a tree. Soil and seed exploded across the tile. A ceramic bird bath shattered on impact. The crash was loud enough that an older woman near aisle 4 screamed. He pointed at me and shouted, "Discrimination." This is what oppression looks like. I'm recording all of this. You're done. This whole store is done. He wasn't holding a phone. He didn't record anything. He just waved his hands like he was commanding some invisible live stream audience. I stepped back and said, firmly, sir, I'm calling the police. Good, he screamed. Call them. I want you to. I'll have them arrest you for violating sovereign citizen law. I picked up the phone and called Boise PD. Hi, we have a man in our store refusing to leave after trying to pay with Monopoly money. He just knocked over one of our front displays and is yelling at customers. The dispatcher paused for a second. Then I heard her quietly laugh before saying, okay, officers are on the way. I hung up and told the guy he needed to leave immediately. He refused. Just stood there, ranting loudly about fiat lies and decentralized value. People were leaving the store. Caleb walked over and tried to talk him down, but the guy shouted, don't touch me. I know my rights. That's assault. Caleb hadn't even moved toward him. At this point, soil was everywhere. Tools were still on the counter. Monopoly money was scattered all across the floor. The guy was pacing in circles, still yelling. 15 minutes later, the police showed up. And that's when everything changed. The police came in fast. 2 officers, Dale and Jenkins. Both mid-40s, both local. We'd had them respond once before for a shoplifter who tried to hide 4 cans of paint under a winter coat in July. They were usually relaxed guys. Not aggressive, not rude. Just straight to the point. As soon as they stepped through the door, Ricky, yes, that's what I started calling him in my head, froze. Then he squared his shoulders like he was about to give a TED talk. He walked right up to them, pointed at me, and declared, this business is refusing to accept legal tender recognized by sovereign economic systems outside the Federal Reserve structure. That's discrimination and a violation of natural law. The officers didn't even look confused. Officer Dale just sighed and said, sir, is that Monopoly money on the floor? Ricky nodded like he'd just won a debate. It represents value. I am within my right to trade assets as I see fit. Commerce doesn't require state validation. Officer Jenkins, who was already stepping around the mess of spilled birdseed and soil, looked at me and asked quietly, is he the one who caused the damage? I nodded. He threw the display over when I told him we don't accept game money. Ricky spun around, finger up like he was in a courtroom. I was provoked. I was mocked for expressing my economic freedom. Jenkins raised his radio. Dispatch, confirm. This guy's name is Ricky L. __________________________________________________________________________________________________________ Prior incident at the music store last week. A pause. Then crackle on the radio. Confirmed. Also had an incident at the gas station. Same claims. Tried to pay with poker chips that time. Poker chips. This guy was making rounds. Dale looked back at him. Sir, you're under arrest for property damage, disturbing the peace, and failure to comply with store policy. Ricky's whole body twitched. What? No. No, you're part of the lie. You don't get to arrest me. You're all part of the corporate machine. He backed up fast, nearly slipping on spilled bird feed. Then he reached into his trench coat pocket, and I swear my heart dropped. I thought gun. Caleb took one step forward like he was about to tackle the guy. But Ricky didn't pull out a gun. He pulled out a plastic crown. A flimsy red and gold one, the kind you'd see at a kid's birthday party. He slammed it on his head and shouted, I'm a sovereign citizen of the People's Financial Republic of Enlightenment. You have no jurisdiction here. Jenkins stared at him. What the hell is the People's? Never mind. They moved in. Ricky tried to push past them. Big mistake. Jenkins caught his arm. Dale grabbed the back of the coat, and they got him to the ground hard and fast. No punches. No kicks. Just firm, professional restraint. Ricky screamed like a banshee. Help. Police brutality. I'm being tortured. This is a war crime. I'm a non-combatant. I could see phones coming out. Some customers were recording. I didn't care. Let the whole world see what kind of circus this guy was trying to run. As they started walking him out, still ranting, still waving his plastic crown, something unexpected happened. Ricky locked eyes with Caleb and shouted, this isn't over. I know your face. I know where you work. You've made an enemy. The whole store went silent. That wasn't just weird anymore. That was a threat. Caleb stood there, arms crossed, face calm. But I could see his jaw clench. Caleb's been with us 6 years. He's not just an employee. He's like family. The cops paused at the door. Jenkins turned and asked, do you want to file that as a verbal threat? I didn't even wait for Caleb to answer. I said yes. Jenkins nodded. We'll add that to the charges. They took Ricky out in cuffs, still shouting nonsense about sovereign lands and invisible courts, and how he would summon the Economy Council. We stood there in silence for a few moments after the door closed. Then one of the older customers near the tools section, a man who hadn't moved the whole time, said quietly, "What the hell did I just watch?" No one answered. We all started cleaning. But that wasn't the end. About 2 hours later, a black Toyota Corolla pulled into our lot. Plates were out of state Oregon. A woman got out. Late 30s maybe, wearing a tie-dye shirt and a long scarf even though it was warm out. She walked straight to the front counter and said, "I need to speak to whoever assaulted my partner." I stepped forward. "Who are you?" She said her name was Oraluna. That's how she introduced herself. "I'm Ricky's spiritual and financial partner," she said. "And I demand accountability. You attacked a sovereign citizen during a private trade agreement. That's an act of war." I stared at her. "Ma'am, your partner tried to pay with Monopoly money, then destroyed our store." She narrowed her eyes. "So you admit it?" "I admit he committed a crime. He's under arrest." She slammed both hands on the counter. "You people don't understand what's coming. The old world is dying. Real money is a lie. The game is the new truth. This," she pulled a pink $5 Monopoly bill from her pocket, "is going to be worth more than your house in 2 years." Caleb walked out from the back holding a broom, stopped, and stared. She pointed at him. You're the one who called the enforcers." "I saw it on the stream. Ricky's been live this whole time." My stomach turned. "Stream?" She nodded. "Decentralized web. Not your fake internet. Quantum channels. You'll see." And then she dropped a USB stick on the counter. "This is his declaration. You're now witnesses." I picked it up. "If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police again." She didn't flinch. "Call them. But know this, the People's Financial Republic doesn't forget. You chose the wrong side." Then she turned and walked out. I watched her drive away. The USB's still in my hand. No idea what was on it. Didn't really want to know. Caleb told me to toss it. I didn't. I locked it in the office safe, just in case. But something about the whole thing stuck with me. I don't believe in cults or conspiracy stuff. But Ricky and this woman weren't just playing some prank. This felt like a mission to them. And I had no idea what was coming next. The next day, I came in early. Didn't sleep much the night before. I kept thinking about that USB stick in the safe. I hadn't opened it yet. I didn't want to. My gut told me it wasn't going to be some normal file. And I was right. At around 7:45 a.m., before we even opened, I plugged it into the old office computer. No network connection, no Wi-Fi, just in case it had a virus or something. There was only one file on it. A video, named "The Truth They Feared, MP4, it was 42 minutes long." The thumbnail showed Ricky, in his trench coat and that same stupid plastic crown, sitting in a chair in front of what looked like a basement wall covered in hand-drawn diagrams. Strings. Arrows. Words like "fiat lies," "currency rebellion," and "end of Walmart." The video opened with a screechy guitar riff and bad homemade graphics. Then Ricky's face filled the screen. "Welcome, brothers and sisters of the awakening," he said. "If you're watching this, then I have been captured. I have been censored for speaking the truth. The system fears monopoly. Why? Because it reflects the illusion." For the next 10 minutes, he ranted about how the game of Monopoly is actually a sacred text and that he had decoded secret messages hidden in the color of the bills. He held up each one and explained how the pink fives represent suppressed creativity, while the yellow tens are ancestral memory. Then he pulled out a globe and spun it slowly, saying, "We've identified 12 nodes of economic energy. The hardware store in Boise is one of them." I paused the video. I felt my skin crawl. He thought our store was some kind of target. Not just a random stop. A node. Whatever that meant to him. I skipped ahead to the 30-minute mark. That's when things got worse. He wasn't alone. There were other people in the background of the video. Blurry, but you could hear them. Talking in the background. Someone was playing a flute. One woman was painting something on a large wooden board. Then Ricky said, "On April 23rd, we return. Not for revenge. For reclamation." That was 10 days away. I ejected the USB, put it back in the safe, and sat in silence for a while. We opened at 9 o'clock sharp. Business was normal. But I couldn't stop thinking about that video. I didn't tell Caleb. Not yet. I didn't want to freak him out unless I had to. Later that afternoon, a strange package arrived. No return address. No postage. Just a plain brown box on the back step, tucked between the trash bins. Dylan, the part-time kid, found it. This was just sitting here. I opened it outside, just to be safe. Inside was a single copy of the Monopoly game, opened a printed sheet of paper titled Declaration of Economic Awakening, a photo of our storefront with the words Stage 1 complete scribbled in red marker, no threats. No names, no signature. But it felt heavy. Like we were in the middle of something bigger now, and we didn't even know it. I reported everything to the police. Officer Jenkins came by, took a statement, logged the box, and looked more annoyed than worried. Probably just trying to rattle you, he said. We'll keep a patrol nearby just in case. But I knew it wasn't just about rattling us. The next day, Caleb found his tires slashed. All 4 of them. On the side of his truck, scratched in the paint, were the words, "You've been bankrupted." I felt my stomach sink. Monopoly reference. Obvious. Caleb stared at it for a while. Then he looked at me and said, "You saw something on that USB, didn't you?" I nodded. He didn't ask more. Just nodded back and said, "Let's prepare." We started checking the cameras more. Double-checking locks. We even removed the front display entirely. We kept the store open, but we were watching every person that walked in. Every car that pulled up. 3 days later, someone spray-painted a pink dollar sign on the back wall of the building. No one saw it happen. No security footage caught it. Just appeared overnight. Then Dylan got spooked. Said some guy in a hoodie followed him for 4 blocks after his shift. Wouldn't speak. Just trailed him. Dylan turned 4 corners and the guy stayed behind him the whole way. Finally ducked into a gas station and called his mom to pick him up. He didn't come back to work after that. Can't say I blame him. On the morning of April 20th, 3 days before the day in the video, we found a Monopoly board nailed to our front door. It was burned around the edges. The center square, free parking, had been covered with a red sticker that said Awakening Zone in sloppy handwriting. Still no signature. Still no names. I called Officer Jenkins again. This time, he didn't laugh it off. They started a formal file. Asked if we wanted temporary closure. I said no. We'd already come this far. But something was definitely building. The people behind this, it wasn't just Ricky anymore. He wasn't the only one who believed in this currency awakening garbage. This was organized, even if it was nuts. We just didn't know what they were planning for April 23rd. Yet. Alright, here's the final part of the story. The tension builds to a sharp, dramatic peak, followed by a direct emotional aftermath and a grounded resolution. It stays true to the tone, structure, and pacing of a true Reddit r/pro-revenge story, realistic, no-nonsense, intense, and reflective. April 23rd. I got to the store 2 hours early. Brought coffee. Brought a baseball bat too. Not to use, but just in case. Caleb was already there. He didn't talk much. Just nodded when I walked in. We didn't open the doors right away. Instead, we locked everything, pulled the blinds, and turned off the open sign. Then we waited. Nothing happened for the first hour. No one came in. No cars parked in front. Just a few regulars walking by and looking confused. Then, around 10:17 a.m., a white cargo van pulled into the lot. No plates. Covered in hand-painted symbols, dollar signs, Monopoly logos, the phrase "currency is consent," across the side in red paint. 3 people got out. Ricky was one of them. Wearing the same trench coat. Same crown. But now he had a long wooden staff. Painted gold. Tied with fake money and ribbon. With him was the same woman, Orluna, and a 3rd man I'd never seen before. Heavy beard. Tactical boots. Hoodie with a weird logo that looked like the Monopoly man, but with spiral eyes. They walked straight to the door and started banging. I didn't open it. Instead, I walked outside. Caleb followed. I kept my phone on record in my pocket. "Leave the property," I said, loud and clear. "We're not doing this today." Ricky held up his staff. "Today marks the breaking of illusion," he said, loud and theatrical. "This business will join the Awakened network, or it will be symbolically dismantled." He looked behind him. More people were coming. From 2 cars parked down the street. A mix of them. Some in robes, others in regular clothes, all carrying Monopoly boards or fake bills. One guy had dice painted on his cheeks. Another wore a sash made of shredded credit cards. There were about 10 of them now. I stood firm. "You trespass, we call the cops again." Simple. Ricky laughed. "You don't get it. This isn't just about us anymore. You're a node, remember? You're the cancer. You represent everything that keeps people in chains. Debt. Control. Monopoly is truth." I stepped forward. "You're not liberating anyone. You're just another guy trying to feel powerful by scaring small business owners." He looked stunned. Like no one had ever told him that before. Orluna stepped between us. "You've hurt him. Emotionally. Spiritually. You don't understand what he gave up for this movement." That's when it happened. The new guy, the one with the spiral-eyed Monopoly hoodie, walked forward and shoved Caleb in the chest. Hard. Caleb stumbled back and almost fell. I moved fast. Grabbed the bat. Raised it. Didn't swing. Just pointed it. Back. Off. Ricky raised his hands. "We don't believe in violence. But you've left us no choice. You've rejected peace. Rejected awakening. He pulled a small speaker out of his coat and hit play. Weird flute music started blasting. Orluna began to chant. The group behind them started unrolling a huge red banner across the sidewalk that said, "We will bankrupt the system." I had enough. I called the police. Again. While waiting, I looked Ricky dead in the eye and said, "You keep talking about truth and value, but you're a coward using fake money and fake threats because real life scares you." His eyes started to water. His voice cracked. "You think I want to be like this?" he yelled. "You think I chose to live in my mom's basement and build a movement from nothing? I had a job, a house, a real life. I lost it all when I told the truth about the dollar." I didn't expect that. Not the outburst. Not the sadness under it. "You lost it because you refused to accept reality," I said. He took a deep breath, stepped back, and shouted to his followers, "This is the final test. Leave behind false doors. Leave behind the illusions." Then he turned and sprinted at our window. He didn't have a weapon. Just body slammed himself into the glass like a linebacker. The window cracked, didn't break. He fell to the ground, wheezing. The group behind him froze. No one moved. No one cheered. Orluna ran to him, helped him up. That's when the cops showed up again. 3 cruisers this time. Jenkins saw the cracked glass, the mob, the signs. Within 5 minutes, it was over. Ricky was cuffed. Again. This time, they took him in with visible bruises on his shoulder and a charge list 3 pages long. The followers scattered. Some fled. Orluna stayed, but cried the whole time. They questioned her. "Let her go." Caleb and I just stood there. No one talked for a while. The cops left. The lot emptied. We cleaned up broken flyers, torn paper bills, and the red banner that now had dirt smeared across the word bankrupt. Then Caleb turned to me and said something I didn't expect. "I used to believe people like him didn't exist." I looked at him. "They do. But most don't go this far." "I think he actually thought he was helping," Caleb added. "That's the scariest part." I nodded. Belief can turn people into heroes or monsters. He picked the wrong side. We closed early that day. Dylan never came back. Not even to pick up his last check. I mailed it to him. 2 days later, a package arrived. No return address. Inside was a ripped Monopoly board. A sticky note taped to it read, "I'm sorry." No signature. Caleb threw it out. The store slowly went back to normal. We replaced the glass. Repainted the wall. People stopped asking after a while. But I still think about Ricky. Not because I feel sorry for him, but because I wonder how many people like him are out there, angry, lost, chasing a lie they turned into a religion. I don't know what happened to him after that. Last I heard, he was facing multiple misdemeanor charges and 1 felony for attempted property damage. His so-called followers disappeared. The Facebook group they used got shut down. Cops said it wasn't big enough to be called a cult, but not small enough to ignore. I still have the USB stick. Haven't touched it since. I leave it in the safe, buried under paperwork. Sometimes I think about destroying it. But some part of me wants to remember how far someone can fall when they refuse to face the truth. You can't fix people who think Monopoly money is real. But you can press charges. And that's exactly what I did.